प्रलिम्ब विपरीतमतिप्रबोधान् वादान्रस्य कृतवान् भुविदत्ववादं सर्वेश्वरो हरिरीति प्रतिपादकं तम् आनन्दतीर्थमुनिवर्यं नमामि। पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनुवे। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विश्विदावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। माण्डुक्य उपनिषदः शान्तिपाठः। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्ट्वांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नक्षार्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नक्षार्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Welcome friends. Yesterday, last week, it was appearing to be a little technical session, and basically we will try to demystify, whatever was expected to be technical last week. What the entire we have gone through the Upanishad 6 mantras followed by the Gaudapada Karika. When we are going through, it is explaining explicitly all the propensities, all the purports that has been given in the Upanishad here. We have come up to the mantra number 6. We will just revisit mantra number 6 for the purpose of recapture also. In the meanwhile, we will just give a bird's eye view of what we discussed last week. Last week we discussed, when we had, all the 3 stages which we have discussed in very detail, because we are preparing ourselves to embark upon catapult into the finest stage of the last stage, which is Turiya stage. So before going into the 4th stage, we have to understand all the 3 stages in which we are having the worldly experience, which we called the Jagrata Sthana, Swapna Sthana, Sushupta Sthana, that is waking state, dream state and the deep sleep state. How on all the 3 states we are working on ourselves to get our knowledge. In the first one, we are getting the entire worldly experience. And while getting the worldly experience, we are getting what we deserve and what we work on, because it is prayatna is needed. Even if you have a desire is coming continuously in your mind. The mind is the creator of generating, because a continuous generator of the desires or thoughts. So when we work on these thoughts, then we try to work on so many things which is of immediate interest to us in the day-to-day world. But how do we get the interest? It is controlled by our vasanas, what we have carried earlier and what we have acquired during the current life also. So we might have got a new sort of a talent, new sort of an interest, a new sort of a know-how. With that, we again go on to the desire and try to acquire the knowledge. What we said was, when you try to focus on whatever you are doing, that is the awareness of God. When you are trying to focus and give your full attention, which the God presents you every moment, the understanding is God is presenting you all the circumstances, all the sort of objects and all the sort of required knowledge, everything to you at that point of time. Once you are able to focus, you are able to get it. Because your life, every moment is precious. Chana chana. Every chana is important in the sense, every moment is, you've got something to learn, something to acquire, something to understand. By understanding what is that, when you work on that, when you focus on that, your selfishness goes off because you are working on what you are doing. So when you are totally working on something which you have to present a paper tomorrow, or we have to make a policy paper, for someone to consider, or you are working on a blueprint for your house, or you are working on the wedding plan for your daughter's marriage, you have to work on that. When you are working continuously, you will get the excellence. You will not allow it, because you will, when it is there, when you have interest of your daughter, or when you have got the interest of your profession, when you have to excel, you will give full attention to that. When you are giving full attention, that attention is the God's grace. When you are getting that attention, that is the God's grace, nothing else. You don't have to have awareness of thinking about God and doing your bhajan and all. It's not required. With the waking world, when you are working, when you are doing, that is what Krishna says. Manikana Eva, we said, every experience is like a small bead in your great garland. The garland, he is the thread in the entire garland. He is the thread and he gives you the opportunity to learn, excel and give it back. When you are giving back, you give it back to your organization, it goes back to your family, or it goes back to your society, or it goes back to the world at large. This is in fact what Vivekananda has said in one of his thoughts. When we are continuously having a desire and when you are trying to have the thoughts, suddenly, because you try to find, why I am getting this, why I am not getting this. Because when you are working on what you have got and what you have not got and what you are likely to get and what you want to get, all these discrepancies take place in your thoughts. And you are being taken out of your fulcrum of focus. When you are being destabilized from your focus, you get all sorts of, you are weaned away from your ability to explicitly perform and skillfully do the things. So when it is taken away, what happens? When you are losing your potential, and by the time, when you lose your potential, you are also trying to lose the part of your being. Just to bring it back together, that is why the focus, attention and all we are talking about. One of the things always being advised to is to have a meditation. The meditation doesn't talk about Advaita meditation, Dvaita meditation, Buddhist meditation and all. Meditation is meditation. The meditation is your ability to focus on your thoughts, guide it. You are able to discipline yourself so that you won't unnecessarily wander here and over and you concentrate only what is in front of you. This is what the Vivekananda called it Raja Yoga. The Raja Yoga, what they do is bring your concentration to the fullest potential. In fact, we shared a story of Vivekananda when he was going through the Encyclopedia Britannica. Just he was going through the book, and one of his colleague monks, who was a master in the entire, he's a professor, he was working in somewhere Cambridge and all, he has come back and become a monastic member of the Ramakrishna order. So he said, he jokingly said, Vivekananda, do you think you will be able to go through the entire thing in this night? He said, yes, I will try whatever is best and all. But next morning he said, Howard, how do I know you know everything? He just then gave rapid fire questions in a staccato and Vivekananda gave it in a blistering blast back without even a comma, full stop missing, including the extension where it has come from, whether it is Latin or whether it has come from physics or whether it is from classical physics, everything he gave it. That is the power of concentration. That is the Raja Yoga. That is what we are trying to work when we say in the waking state we want to work with the awareness of God. That is what we do. Because you can see the musicians. When the classical musicians, when they reach the final pinnacle of their career, they don't bother about it. You go and ask them to sing this particular raga, they give it, they improvise it, they give a flowery sort of a fragrance to the entire presentation of the raga. They just take you to the phenomenal heights where you lose yourself, you lose your being and all. That comes because that is the focus. That focus, they are fortunate to get, because whenever a musician performs, he performs with a full focus. There he realizes God. That is why Natha Brahma they said. Because in all other walks of life, we will have to focus on whatever we are doing. And we can see a lot of people who are doing a particular thing. We think, they are not aware of the world and they are in their own world. It is better to be in your own world, because where you are able to give full thrust to what you are doing for the benefit, not for the benefit of yourself, it is for the benefit of everyone else. Because the entire vaccine has been all these researchers within a period of 4.5 months. They have worked day and night. They have burnt the midnight oil. They have undertaken risk. Most of them have been infected by COVID. Some of them have gone into the very serious situation. They have come back because they don't get any benefit out of that. They have not thought about it. What am I going to get? So they have worked because they have got a passion and the grace is there. They have realized God by doing their work. This is what we are supposed to do in the waking state. In the dream state, it takes you to a little higher status because you are not, you are not in your own senses, you are not affected by the desires, and you are not affected by, what you want. You are only getting the latent impressions of the mind which God gives you, which has been it has been taken into, etched in your memory, and etched in your memory when it comes, and it gives you some sort of it is not reality, but it gives you to dream big things. More you are able to dream big things, you will be able to do. Like Ramanuja, what he said, unless he dreams everything, whatever he has written, it comes in his dream. The goddess of Namakal, Namagiri, she comes and writes in a red screen with the white letters. He is not able to understand in his dream, but he catches a few of it. Next morning he works on that. It expands into hundreds of pages of his theorems. It gives him the propensity to go. The God gives the seed. The dream is a sort of a seed. It gives you, because so that to achieve some bigger things in life. And more you work with a concentration, your dream will be of that quality. More you are wind away from concentration, you look into the outside things, your dream will be full of those things. That is how a person becomes good or bad or indifferent to the worldly way, depending upon what he is able to give in his waking state. So therefore, when we use waking state effectively, that gives the higher potential. That is why it is taken. It is called dream state. It is called utkarshatva. See, it is elevating from you dehabhimana. You don't have any in the dream. You don't think about yourself. You are thinking about you have to go for a movie and all. You are in dreaming. You just see the dreams. They come very, very, very clearly. In dream, you will be able to see everything in all the colors, appropriate colors. You will be able to see. That is what it is. In fact, this has been proven by even this Stephen Hawking. Because when he said, unless you dream, you will not be able to know. And why dream is there? Dream is required so that you are able to wonder at the things which you don't experience so far, which you don't know so far. Even theory of relativity came in his intuition, in his dreams for Einstein. It came like that. So this is how, because the entire process of development and especially entire process of, what you can achieve with this being, body, mind and intellect, what you can achieve comes in dream state. So this is the importance of dream state, we saw it. And then we went to the still higher state of Sushuptasthana, where you don't have any desire. Na kanchana kamam kamayati. Na kanchana swapnam pashyati. No dream. Nothing is there. You are totally unaware of yourself. You are not, you are the person whom you are. You are not in Pune or not, you are not in Hyderabad, you are not in Bangalore. You are in somewhere in the stratosphere. And you are like anybody else, totally into you. You are almost closer to the divine bliss at that point of time. Shuptasthano, we said Eki Bhutha, because everything merges together. It is not collide of all the things, your waking state, dream state, everything merges together. It is a torpid, it is sort of a congened, because it is all together, but then it doesn't give you any sort of propensity of a desire, your propensity of a dream, nothing is there. And you are very close to blissfully when you sleep, a good sleep, you get refreshed in the morning. That is, you are almost close to the God's bliss, what He wanted to give. That we will go to the fourth stage, we will see it. Mantra number 7 we said that we will be proceeding to that. Before that, when we decided, we came to Gaudapada Karika. Gaudapada Karika, which was called the Brahmadrishtam by Srimad Bhadvacharya, who was given a special explanation of all the Karika. Gaudapada Karika is Shankara Bhagavatpada's Guru's Guru. Govinda Bhagavatpada's Guru, Gaudapada Karika. But he has done a great work by giving the Karika with the 4 Prakaranas. It has got 4 Adhyayas. The Agama Prakarana is the one which is talking about entire explanation of Mandukya Upanishad. That Karika we are dealing with it. Other 3 Karikas, other 3 Prakaranas deal with the different aspects of it. But the entire Gaudapada Karika is like a compendium of thoughts which has come about till the time of Gaudapada. Right from the beginning, it has given a control, including Buddhist thoughts have been discussed in that. So all thoughts have been discussed in that. So it has become a veritable source for everyone to take and expand further. It is a sort of a Shruti. It is not a Shruti. It is like a treatise on all the thoughts which has come about. So it has been treated by Shankara Bhagavatpada also like that. He has also given a sort of a Bhashya on Gaudapada Karika. He has given a brief but explaining what are all the higher points. The same Karika has been taken by Madhvacharya, though he propounded a different philosophy than Shankara Bhagavatpada. Shankara Bhagavatpada propounded Advaita. Madhvacharya propounded Dvaita, otherwise it should be rightly called as Tattvavada, he proposed. But then he considered this Karika as Brahmadrishtam, it is Brahma's words to Varuna when he is, because Varuna is the one who is the Rishi for this Mandukya Upanishad, when he has recited the entire Mandukya Upanishad to Brahma, the Brahma has given these thoughts to him, so that it is an exposition of Mandukya Upanishad. That is how it has been taken in. Here we have taken the first three when we have talked about. It has also been a given connotation. Waking, dream and deep sleep are equivalent to Srishti Sthiti Samhara. Like, all your thoughts are created when you are in the waking state. That is Srishti. When you are having all these thoughts, your thoughts don't come to you automatically. You don't have to go for that. If you keep quiet also, thoughts will be bombarding you. When you are just listening to me, even thoughts will be bombarding to you in a different way. It will be coming to you. So the thoughts are created, and how the thoughts are captured by your focus, attention, chitta, and you are able to put it to use. That is the greatness of the Almighty gives it. He is there as Vaishvanara. The Vaishvanara is the cosmic being. He guides you to get the benefit of these thoughts. That is what we talked about. Vishva, because we called in the Vishva, we are getting the experience. Vaishvanara asks us to get the help. He is trying to help us to get the knowledge from here. And there Srishti is taking place. When the Srishti is taking place, you are working on a new thesis, or you are working on a new policy, or you are working on a new project, or you are thinking something about, you want to do something for, you are going to start a trust or do for something else, or you are working on something, you got a new idea. You want to give it to so many others so that others can benefit from you. So many things can take place. That is called Srishti. And in the dream state, your latent impression comes. It is called, because you are being stabilized in this world, Niyati. When you are being taken into this world, you are not creating anything. Your thoughts are not there during the dream state. Your latent impressions, what you have thought befitting to get into your mind, you must have accumulated in your brain. They come. More you accumulate the grand thoughts, more your dream will be grander. And more you have normal thoughts, indifferent thoughts, your dream will be of that. So that is called Sthiti. Again, everything is a product of your mind. So that is being brought about it. The deep sleep state, it is Samhara. It takes away, it all become congenial, it torpid everything together into a mass of, the being consciousness. In that, what happens? Your thoughts are not being generated. In the deep sleep, no thoughts are being generated. Only your body is alive. Your prana keeps going. And your awareness is there, but you will realize the awareness only when you get back. Till such time, you are in the command and control of Ishvara. Ishvara is the cosmic, because in the dream state, it is Hiranyagarbha is the cosmic state. Hiranyagarbha is supposed to be, you can just take as a golden egg, who is the creator of the entire Prakriti and human beings. It is a golden egg. He is creating all the latent impressions of your mind, Hiranyagarbha, in a cosmic state. That has been given because the cosmic state do have a function to generate your thoughts. For Ramanujam, it thought about the mathematical theories. For Einstein, it gave the thought of relativity. For a person who wants to be an actor, it will be generating thought of the Hollywoods or Bollywood. How he has to get his, he goes to acting school, how he has to do. A person who wants to join IIT, how he has to crack the IIT exam. That will be there. In dream, he will be getting it. Am I to go for this coaching class? Am I to take this? Likewise, it comes. It depends upon everyone's propensity and what you have thought about in your waking world, you get the dreams of that nature. And the Sushupta Sthana, all of us are same. We are all totally under the command and controller of Ishvara. But the difference between Ishvara and ourselves is, that is called Pragya, we call it. Otherwise, it is called Ishvara in Advaita Vedanta. He is all knowledgeable. Pragya is all knowledgeable. Ishvara is all knowledgeable. But we are having absence of knowledge. In deep sleep, you don't have a knowledge. When you don't have a knowledge, you have got nothing to worry about. You are absolutely fine. You are not a father, son, boss, anything like that, husband, wife, everything and all. So that is the state. You are almost closer to the divine bliss. But then that is a temporary. Once it's likely to be temporary, the next morning you come into the waking world, you start your things. When we have said all these things, how it is being given to you, Vaishvanara is in your Agnya Chakra. Dakshinamukhe, we saw that in Karika. Because Dakshinamukhe is on your right eye. Just by the side of your right eye is the Agnya Chakra, which keeps all your memories and all your para thoughts. You have got a parapsychological sort of a potency, what is there. You will be able to see, Akashvani, what people say. Sometimes the vibrations you are able to hear, the grand thoughts. Once your Agnya Chakra is tuned, you will be able to hear. And if a tsunami is coming, your Agnya Chakra will be able to warn you. If a volcano is going to erupt, your Agnya Chakra will be able to warn you. And even, because we have heard the stories when Mahaparival advised the namesake. My namesake was the judge in High Court at the time. He happened to visit Mahaparival in Kanchipuram. He was to take the train that day because he used to come there on Saturday morning, be with Perival, and Sunday evening he used to take the train back to Madras so that he can attend the High Court next morning. When he was about to go the next morning, and suddenly he used to go and do a namaskaram to Perival and say, he used to take his blessings and leave. When he went there, Perival asked him not to go, you be here. But the next morning, one important case was posted in his bench. He has to be there. He was wondering, what is this? Perival is asking not to go. I have to go. What to do? So he said, let me find a way out. Because then he talked to someone, asked him, because I may be delayed even if I don't come. Let us hold on, or because he can just take it, or some other bench can, if possible they can take. He made all those things, but he was in a quandary. It is a very important case which he has been hearing for a long time. And for a judge, to not to be in the chair when the case was coming to the finality is a sort of scourge. You can't allow it to happen. But finally, what happened? He couldn't do anything. He just left it to the guard and stayed in Kanchipuram that night. Next morning, we must all be remembering the Greyhound and the Hariyalur accident which takes place, the Tuticorin Express, the famous accident for which Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned as a railway minister. That was also history. Nowadays, nobody resigns. In those days, Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned because that was a major accident, because railways didn't have such an accident any time, in the recent past then. Then I think that it happened. And why Perival said not to go? And that too when he was in a very, very difficult situation, he has to attend the court. So this has been recorded in Daivatyan Kural, because where Mahaparival's experiences are there, it has also been recorded like that. Likewise, it is his Agya Chakra, Mahaparival's Agya Chakra worked. He knows what is likely to happen. He knows what is likely to, that is why, because he asked him to be here so that, he used to go by first class. And the first class bogies were only, got destroyed in that accident. And his life has been saved. I think, he could realize, when some great people tell you something, you feel, what is this? These people are telling, I have got so many 100 different things to do. But they tell because they have got the Agnya Chakra working. Whenever the great, the souls who are realized souls like Mahaparival, Swamijis, when they say, you have got to listen, there is a purpose behind that. The reason may not help you to understand. Reason fails when faith begins. When reason fails only, you start having the faith. So this is one example. Like Agnya Chakra has got that much importance. So Agnya Chakra is there, in the Vaishvanara when it is there. And then we come Tejasa, in the dream state it is Tejasa or the Hiranyagarbha who is there. He is acting from our Vishuddhi Chakra, this Kanta. He is showing you the latent impressions of the mind. When you are watching a movie, you are normally watching sitting straight. At that time when you are focusing, you put a triangle, it will just and fall on your Kanta. So this Vishuddhi Chakra, where it is there, it is thyroid and parathyroid, all the glands are there. So they are the one, the Vishuddhi Chakra is in your Sushma Sharira. Agya Chakra is also in Sushma Sharira. There are also switches for these chakras, the glands. Here, it is a sort of a pineal gland. Agya Chakra is working on the pineal gland. Vishuddhi Chakra is working on thyroid and parathyroid gland. And then finally, when the deep sleep, we said, he is in your heart, thymus gland. When the thymus gland is there, he is in the heart chakra. The heart chakra, when he is working on that, he is there in the Sushumna. Then we said, in the heart, where is he residing? The heart, there is an inverted lotus is there, and the lotus, there is a Sushma, Sushumam Shushmam Tasyante Pratishtita, because there only the Almighty is supposed to be there. And he is enlivening you, the prana is enlivening you, your jiva is also supposed to be there. They are all in the Sushma Sarira. You will not be able to dissect and see your body whether it is there or not. The cadaver can't tell you it is there. So with that, when the three states are there, it has been described as the cosmic power's ability to create, maintain, dissolution. When the pralaya comes, Srishti Sthiti Samhara. This is your waking state, dream state, and your deep sleep state is like this. You are going through the Srishti Sthiti Samhara every day. And Samhara, what happens? In the pralaya stage, all the bodies are supposed to be in dormant state without any thoughts. They are all latent. They don't come to the fore. But again, they are being brought to the force once you get up next morning. Likewise, this is going on. This has been equated to that to show that God's grace is always there throughout your every minute of your life, morning to evening, right from the day you are born till today, and it is going to be till such time we are going to enjoy this world. So this is what exactly it has been brought about, and we said in all these cases it satisfies what you are desiring, demanding based on your ability, experience, and we are all having sattva, rajasa and tamas. Each of us has got the potential. Some of us have maybe 50% sattva, 30% rajasa and 20% tamasa. The people may have the reverse order also. Depending upon what we have, based on what we desire and what is the vasanas we have, our experience comes like that. And what you desire, you get it. See, what is given in, and they say, well, garbage in, garbage out, the computer says. The garbage comes in, garbage goes out. If the sacred things comes in, sacred things comes, it goes out. That is how, because that is the way you can differentiate between the saints and sinners. There are no sinners, in fact. There is no saints without a past. There is no sinner who doesn't have a future. Both are there. Once you realize this is our everyday life, once you know, yes, this is where, we will have to take the grace of the God and hold on to it, then the sinner can become a saint. If the saint forget to learn this, he can become a sinner. The both are possible. This is what has been brought about in the Karika. And when we came to that, we just came about mantra number 6 last week when we discussed Prabhavas Sarva Bhavanam Satamiti Vinishchitaha. In the sense, Prabhavaha is whatever is created, whatever is being destroyed. Prabhava Prahalastata. This is what Gita says. That is, when everything is created, everything is maintained, it is me who is doing. That is what. That means all your experiences are given me. Prabhava Sarva Bhavanam. Bhavanam is all the jivas. When they are being brought about, they are the one who are brought about. And the jivas, when they are Sarva Bhavanam, in the sense, not only jivas, insentient, sentient, jada, jiva, all of them, he is the reason for that. Satamiti Vinishchega. Satamiti, Sata means Sat Purusha. That is, these are all Panditas. They have said Vinishchita. Vinishchita, Nishchita, we said, because this is what is proven. Vinishchitaha is conclusively proven. We ourselves can see from our experience. There is no doubt about it. You cannot have any doubt whatsoever on this. Vinishchitaha, when it is said. And Sarvam Janayati Pranaha, because we said, everything is being produced. Sarvam Janayati Pranaha, Cheto Anshun, Chaitanya Anshun. Because he is like a sun. His rays comes into every one of his. Anshun. We are all Amsa of that one ray of the sun. Bimba, Pratibimba-vada, what we call it in Tattvavada. Because we are all Pratibimba. But Pratibimba, when we say it is okay, Pratibimba is not taken. You have to realize. The Upasanas are to realize you are a Pratibimba of God. How will you know? When you focus on your waking state, once you understand your grand dreams are based on your grand desire for the good of everyone, Nana Janasya Shushutaha. When you have that grand vision, then you become you are a Pratibimba. And the Sushupta Sthana, when you don't have anything at all, when you are able to come back, you will be having the absence of knowledge. You are able to enjoy the same bliss continuously. because it becomes a seed state. When the seed, that depends upon the quality of the seed, the tree grows. So Sushuptasthana, when you are having a grand thoughts and grand dreams and you go into the deep sleep, next morning when you get up, everything will be grand. It will be sort of the highest sacred thoughts. It takes you, uplifts you. It takes you to the stratosphere. Because you will be able to take so many people with you up. You could be someone who is guiding so many people on meditation, or you may be guiding so many people, giving advice, proper advice for people who are aspiring to be someone. You can be advising the students or even advising to the needy because they may not be able to get a loan. Now they may be, most of them have got financial resource crunch now at this point of time. You may be able to give some solid advice to them and you will be able to be a guiding force once you have that thought. But when you don't have that type of thought, then you will be still be looking into the desire of your own and looking into what is taking you out of your stability, and you will be doing that. That is why they said, Pravas Sarva Bhavanam Satamiti Vinishchitaha Sarvam Janayeti Pranescha Anshun. You should realize you are part of the whole. And once you are a part of the whole, you will have to be befitting. See, if you want to put a bearing in a BMW, you will have to put the appropriate bearing. You can't put what is available to auto rickshaw. So whether you are a bearing of auto rickshaw to be put in BMW or you are a BMW bearing to be put in BMW. That is what we will have to do. Once you do that, you become proper fit to the whole. And once you become, you also enjoy, when the vehicle moves, the bearing also does the job. So is the vehicle. The whole world moves. When the whole moves, the part also moves. It is not the cog in the wheel. It is just going about giving the benefit to everyone who is traveling, who is being taken for travel. Everything in the vehicle also moves, and it does have the perfect balance in everything and all. So this is exactly, this particular sloka said. In that also we said, because prane anshun purusha pratak. Because then we said when it is being produced, it gives different type of the pupil. Because we said each one is different. Likewise, I may be when I realize, I may be a bearing in the auto, someone may be a bearing in the Mercedes-Benz, someone may be a bearing in Maruti or a Tata. It is like that. So because we are all depending upon the Nichocha Bhavam Gata, because based on our ability, our karmas and our vasanas, we have to flourish. So we may be an almond tree or a guava tree or a mango tree, whichever way we will have to do, but we are all different. This is what it's a Prutak, Purushaha Prutak. When we said Purusha, we also gave a grand concept in our Vedanta. Purusha has a grand concept, Purusaha. Purusaha is, he is Vyapta. This galaxy, beyond this galaxy, even beyond all these thousands of galaxies which are there together, even what they see, this cosmos, the entire cosmos is filled with the primordial power. And when he has there, when this has been created, he created the Brahmanda. He created the Brahmanda in the sense galaxies with the planets in that. And we are also, Earth is a planet. We are in a particular galaxy. He has created. So, but he is the one Vyapta everywhere. He has created that. When he has created, he has taken the Purusha forms to create. Purusaha. That is why we say Purusha Suktam. Purusha Suktam is that power who has created. And then he has created us. And when he has created us in the Purusha Suktam, and we are also called Purushaha, since Pura is called this entire body. This body, why it is Purushaha in the what type of a body? See, even the animal has a body, even the bird has a body, and so many other creatures, they also, because dolphin has a body and whale has a body, all are body. Are they Puru? In the sense, in our Vedanta and in Veda, what they say is Pura is Prapalanena Purnatva, the one which is fully grown. Because when we said, Elu Kayangala Karadu, Embatnaku Letter, Jiva Rasi and the Dante Banda Isarira, we have evolved. So we might have been a whale sometime. We might have been a donkey sometime also. We don't know about it. So if someone says donkey to me, I should not be mistaken. I might have gone through that also. 84 lakh Rasi was there. I might have been in one birth. It will be like that. Why should you take some sort of offense to that? But finally when I have come to the full-fledged creation, what God has desired. Durlabhat Manushyatvam. When I have come to, as Sankaracharya said in Viveka Chudamani, this is the great evoluted final being in this world. Having come to this, why you have been brought to this final evolved stage? To know You are a Pratibimba to understand and get His grace all through your experience, all through your life, right from morning, waking, dream, and deep sleep. This is what it is. This is a grand concept. Prashaga Pratak, we say this. And because this concept, there are different philosophies propounding different ways, and that we will say. In fact, we will also be saying the same concept in Taittiriya Upanishad. Certainly, this Upanishad will also be in our scheme of things when we go further into that. Purushatveya avistatam atma. This is what, because the Taittiriya Upanishad also says a grand Mahavakya. We will see that at that point of time. Having created this, He has given us to have a different text in this one. Here also we explained one particular way. This is the one place where the primordial power is called prana. Sarvam janayati pranas chaito anshun. Because we said bimba, pratibimba and all, when we said prana, when we call it, primordial power is called prana. We know prana means it's only the breath, vayu. Prana is, then we say, pancha prana is there. Prana, Pana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. And then in the Vedanta, in the Vedas, there are three types of pranas. Mukhya prana is pranayiti prana. Even the primordial power, the Brahman, because we say Brahma, Brahma, as per the current Sanskrit pronunciation is Brahman. The ha should come. Should come, because in sort of subtle way. It's not, you should not be bringing about as if you are taking a rasagulla, but then you will have to say Brahman. See, that is what the Brahman, when it is there, when Brahman is there, prana is called pranayiti pranaha. Chalati, it gives you chalana. So that is why when he goes, it goes off. But then, he resides, we said in it is inverted lotus in your thymus gland. When he is there in the heart chakra, when he is there at all, he is there, is a conceptually is there in the Sushma Sharira. The moment, when the body has to be inactive, he is not there. And one more concept is there, because normally he comes, how he comes into the body is supposed to be coming through the Sahasrara chakra. When the child is born, you might be knowing, people apply small oil, onto the middle of the head. If you put oil, it will go in, because there is a way through that only. When the child is given the enlivening power, the God is supposed to be going through that. It is coming in Aitreya Upanishad, not Taittiriya. There is one more Upanishad. In that, it is very elaborately, even our creation, how it has come to the world, because they have gone into so much of details. Because we may be wondering, what is that, what am I going to get in this world? In the sense, in the transactional world, when we are having Rajasa and Tamasa, we don't have any meaning. But when we want to get into the height, when we want to utilize this full creature, Purusha, Pura Saha, when he has given me this fully evolved body, this is the purpose. Please know. At least you ask, who are you? He has given you the ability. Dolphin doesn't ask who it is. A whale doesn't ask who it is. Or even a dinosaurus will not ask who it is. You are able to ask who and get into the whole gamut of things into the cosmic side. This is where you can go beyond this world. You can go into the stratosphere. That is how they have predicted so many things. Even the distance between the sun and the earth has been given in a particular shloka in Atharvana Veda. It exactly matches how it is possible. Because they have thought about that. Is it that, because they have thought about, what am I going to do? Am I going to get a food, or whether I am going to get a new clothes? That is, if you are going to be at that level, the Upanishad is not for us. Upanishad is take us to very higher level. See, when the Upanishad, what is the advantage of knowing a Upanishad? What is the purpose of the knowing Upanishad? Or what is the finality, it has to give you is, you will not be complaining about anything. You will not have any complaints. Even someone wants you to ask you to give a complaint, you will not be complaining. Because you don't have anything to look for to complain. And then you have got no desires, no wants. You are happy with whatever is there. And then you will all be not comparing. You will not be complaining and you will not be comparing. Both, if you stop doing that, that means you have got the Adhyatma. In Keno Upanishad, we have seen what is Adhyatma knowledge itself in one sloka was said. It's like a lightning. Once it comes, because it just comes for a moment. And the Namashita, it's only for a minute moment. When you close your eyes, the entire thing, world goes off. Then you get into the blissful meditation, or your thoughts are coming into the focus. So when you are keeping your eyes open and still you are able to be in the stage, when you don't have a complaint, then Upanishad has worked on. But if you are going to be a complaint king or a complaint queen for everything, right from power has gone, this is not working, that fellow has not come, And I was planning this is not happening. I think I have to go there next month. It will not be possible. I was supposed to have this, meet the doctor, he's not coming. All those things, if you go on having it, we have got more than 100,000 scriptures in Hindu. None of the scriptures will be able to work on us. See, that is one particular small, a person was jokingly telling, he has become someone big, or he has become someone, or he has, because people have forgotten him, but he came back to his place after so many years, return of the native, like prodigal son in Bible. He came, and when he came and he wanted to meet all his teachers and all, he wanted to thank them. Sir, whatever I am today because of you. They don't know who is he, what is he, and all that. But all the teachers told him, sorry, we tried our best, we couldn't do anything. If then all the scriptures will say, sorry, we tried our best, we couldn't do anything for you. They will go back, nimavrite. At the Shankaracharya said, Shabdaha nimavrite. They will come and everything will be put onto your ears, and still you come, you are trying to be a complaint king or complaint queen. All these scriptures will get back and they will accept their failure. They will be very, very gracefully accept their failure and then get back. Because we are not supposed to be here for that. We are going to have the full benefit of it. That's why we are going to go through further into this. And with this only, we were seeing the next mantra. We just started with that last week. It is, what is the, now they not only stopped at thinking about all these things, and they also said how this word would have come into existence, even the Brahmanda, galaxies, how all the sentience, insentience, and how they have come into existence. Because there are three things in this world: Prakriti, soul, Jiva, Paramatma, primordial power. Paramatma, Jiva, and Jada. The concept is being discussed in various philosophies in Vedantic literature. What we call it Sanatana Dharma. When we call the Sanatana Dharma, each one, Sankhya philosophy propounds something, and so is Buddhist philosophy propounds something. In that, our Upanishad propounds something, and we have also got Tattva, because we have got a particular stream of knowledge in Vedanta. Nyaya, one stream is there. Nayayika, we call it. It has got, it goes by logical, Tarkavada, Nayayika. And another one is Vaisesha, one stream is there. Vaisesha is like going into the atomic level. You go into the, because like going into the pinpoint, last drop, you go and explain what is it. You have to go with this. It is a sort of a regression. You go to the regression. Regression in the sense you have got a hot potato. Hot potato you are in the hand, because if you are giving it to us, yes, we will all say, in our own theory, yes, it is potato is hot potato. But Nayayika or Vaiseshika, they will not say. And even Advaita also, it has been quoted as an example. See, when hot potato is there, the heat has not come into the potato. How heat has come? It has come in the water where it has been put into boil. The water doesn't have the heat because water was in the pot. So pot has given the heat to the water. Even pot doesn't have the heater. There is a fuel. The fuel has given. The fuel doesn't have the heat because the Agni was put on there and it has got. Finally, Agni has the heat. The Agni's manifestation has come as hot potato. So that is how you will be able to derive. And philosophy goes like that. That is why philosophy is not for weak minds. Because the people who go with the present day experience to get into the philosophy, most of them they can go deranged. The possibility is there. But why they are explaining this is that you should be able to come to know the final cause. The entire philosophy is talking about the cause and effect. So we are all the effect because our parents were the cause. Our father was the cause. We are the cause for our children. We are the effect of our parents. Our children are the effect of us. Likewise, it continues, cause and effect. For him, he is beyond cause and effect. So just to explain, this is what that we saw it, because and he is beyond known and unknown. We also say in Kena Upanishad. Therefore, it comes, that is how they are thinking. We have got Nayayika, Vaiseshika. This is just to know. We are not going to discuss detail about it. Nayayika, if we get into that, there are masters are there, even the great masters can't understand that. It's a very great philosophy, and that has given rise to potential. In fact, most of the Greek philosophies, they are all like Nayayika and Vaiseshika, like Socrates, Plato. So if you go to any Western universities to study philosophy, first you will have to read Plato and then Aristotle. And then both Plato and Aristotle are fundamental because they have brought about all these things. Whatever we have discussed in the Upanishadic concept, in Tattva, Mimamsika, everything and all, even the God, atheism, everything has been discussed by them. In fact, there is one group of thought learners like Swami Ranganathananda. We had one great monk, who was heading the Ramakrishna mission. He said, the Upanishadic thoughts have gone to the Greeks. That is one view. But I think we should understand the Greek, they had their own philosophy. And one of the most famous universities in Greek, there is a place called Syracuse, where, even the Alexander the Great was sent there to be taught the value of life, so that, when he came to conquer other places, he had displayed the value everywhere. He has not simply went about conquering. He has done everything. He has fought the war. He has been ruthless, but at the same time, he has behaved such a stable way, because he has been sent for 7 years to Syracuse University by his father. Because the Greeks, they gave so much of a philosophical importance for the mind to work perfectly and all. In fact, one of the famous university in US is named as Syracuse University because a lot of doctors come from there. It is after the place in Syracuse. Even Julius Caesar, and he has written, the great, and then Antony, Mark Antony, when he has written the great philosophy. Mark Antony, when he has written that thoughts, is called Recollections. He has given great 10 volumes he has given. So beautiful, so beautiful. So it is again a philosophical input only. We all have a common, either it has gone from there or it has come from there. Human thoughts can occur anywhere, any part of the game, because God has created all of us. Even if you are born in Greek, we will be talking about it and all. So vibhutim prasavam tanye manyante srishti chintakaha. So when they said, because the entire vibhutim prasavam, bhuti in the sense a modification of a being. So many things, you are seeing jada, you are seeing plants, you are also seeing rocks, you are seeing rivers, everything and all. Vibhutim, so many things, vivita bhuti. Both of them, prasavam tanya, in the sense how they have been created. Prasavam in the sense they have been brought into being. Prasavam in the sense like all of us have come from the womb of a mother. All these things must have come from the womb of something else. That's why we call Hiranyagarbha is the womb, golden age. It's the womb for the entire world. That is the concept we are given. But Hiranyagarbha produces the jivas, because he continuously produces, not jadas, chaitanyas he produces. Prasavam anye manyante srishti chintakaha. They have all thought about and they said jada has become everything. The God has become a jada. He himself has transformed. He has become a jada and he has become the plant. He has become everything and all. In the sense, he himself has been transformed. And this has been sort of refuted by most of the top philosophers because he is unchangeable. The primordial power Paramatma is unchangeable. He is full of bliss. He can't have vikara. He is a nirdosha. He doesn't have anything. He can't become a stone and other things. He can create a stone. He is capable of it. Like in the Bible, the first chapter when they say, when the God said, "Let there be light," the light came. "Let there be world," that the world came. Then he took some dust. "Let there be beings," then human beings came. That's how, because the God is omnipotent, is omniscient, is is satya, sarvagya. When we say Esha sarvagya, when we saw that, he is capable of everything. So he can't become a jada. That argument has been sort of refuted by most of this, but still it has been propounded by some of the acharyas called Bhaskaracharya. But they had a reason for that, because our Veda is like, sort of a broad, sort of a compilation of ideas. They have given so many ideas because they don't want no idea to be left out, because they know these human beings, they can think in their own way and all. In order to bring that, they have also given some statements in the Veda, and each Veda, when you are interpreting, one of the most important thing we have to understand is how to interpret the Vedic words. So, one of the acharyas, like Madhvacharya said, Kanishta Trayartha. Each word has got 3 meanings. Why same Upanishad, same Vedas, everything is there? Why there is an Advaita? Why there is a Vishishta Advaita? Why there is a Tattvavada Advaita, as they call it and all? This has been beautifully explained. Vedas are a compendium of all thoughts. If you are seeing every statement with the sort of you have got a question whether it's a real or unreal, you go on looking into, then you may be getting, and then you are going into the next thing, whether you are a whole or a part. You go on asking this, you only look for the answers to your questions. You will not be looking into the whole, because what it is about to explain and all. You can have even other philosophies also. The three of the philosophies have come to the fore because which has people have taken it, understood and followed it. And there are Nimbarka has also got a philosophy which is being followed. Vallabhacharya philosophy is there, in Gujarat and Nathadwara and all, the Vallabhacharya philosophy, Goswami. That is being Goswami Tulsidas and Goswami who was there in the Mathura, blind, and Surdas and all of them belong to that, and they have also got a philosophy. They have all got different interpretation of same Veda. Veda will give you hundreds of interpretations depending upon the view with which you are looking into. And what happens is all these acharyas have looked into that question and they have also got the darshanas without any individual bias, none of your conditionalities. They have propounded that. That's why this stands for thousands of years. Why Advaita stands for thousands of years, why Visishtadvaita stands for thousands of years, why Tattvavada stands for thousands of years, right from the beginning, because they have not died down, like any other religion, they fly by night. Because they've gone into the depth of it, because prakaranas have been produced, there are a lot of great acharyas have come, and they have brought it further, they thought about it, and they have given it. What finally they give? The way of life is morning to evening, you have got Sthiti Samhara, how you have to take it, how you can perfect, how you can elevate. That is the final takeaway. But then they have given different roads to get into this. That is why, because how am I to know, I am a Tattvavada and all, because I can say I am a great man, I have born in this, my parents were belonging to this, so I am also, that is only thing I know. I don't know what is philosophy and all. Not by knowing the philosophy I can call myself this. If that is, none of us can be called like that, because none of us know the philosophy. In fact, we have not learned the philosophy, nor we had any reason to know, because we are living in this world, we are able to live through the world and get through the life, and we are able to see and we are discussing. Now we have got enough time and energy to look into what is the philosophical aspect of our existence. Then we are trying to look into those philosophies. So these philosophies come to the fore not as this one, just to move in, to strengthen you, stabilize you, and walk through the life with full confidence. It not there is no point in discussing with whether this is big or that is big, and nothing is big. Because if you want to see that, because you don't know enough to know what is your own philosophy, what is that you are going to talk about the other philosophies and all. So therefore, these philosophies are being propounded. We are trying that, because all these great acharyas have different, and they have given so many scriptures based on scripture. And if you go there, you will have a mine of information you can get for the benefit of yourself. The purpose of Upanishad and discussing the philosophy is to get that particular gems from all these great acharyas. We are fortunate to have that great acharyas in our country. We can't have anywhere else. The Prativati Bhayankaram Annangacharya, you might have heard, he is from Kanchipuram. He is a very great scholar. I think in the sense, they are from a family. They are called Prativati Bhayankaram. Whenever they dialectical debate, when they say, the person on the other side, he will get frightened. Right? That's why Prativati Bhayankaram Annangacharya and all. But he has written a beautiful, he has called Sarira Samhita, is it? What Sarira Samhita is nothing but he has given a Tamil version of Brahma Sutra. Beautifully he has explained. But what he has explained is something called a Manipraval. It's not in our current the Tamil. He is in the early 20th century. When he has written so beautifully, he has quoted Upanishad, such great scholar, he is outstanding scholar. He has written all about those things, how it is working and all those things he has given. The Brahma Sutra is the one, is sort of a guideline, constitution to understand Veda. So the Brahma Sutra is the mainly one all the acharyas have concentrated upon. All the three acharyas, including Vallabhacharya, other acharyas like Vallabhacharya, Nimbarkacharya and Chaitanya, for him, Vidyabhushana Balabhadra, one great scholar was there. All of them have written a Bhashya on this Brahma Sutra. The Brahma Sutram is a constitution. Like the Supreme Court interprets every law, in the light of the constitutional propriety, in the light of the Brahma Sutram propriety only, all of them can be interpreted. So this is the port of the entire thing. All of them have written on that. All of them have written a Bhashyas on Upanishad. Ramanuja has not directly written, but his disciple Ranga Ramanuja has written. And then all of them have written on Bhagavad Gita, all the chapters. The Traya, the Prashnatraya we say. Because all the acharyas have written, based on that only they have brought the philosophy for the benefit of the human beings. They all of us like us. So this is the first requirement to be an acharya. If you want, tomorrow you can also be an acharya, provided you write Bhashya on Brahma Sutram, Bhashya on all Upanishad, and Bhashya on Bhagavad Gita. Based on your understanding, you give your concept, subject to its acceptability by other great scholars. It is how it comes about. It's not an easy task. Shankara lived for 32 years. He established, even he reopened lot of temples. Even Badrinath was opened by him. Even the puja was, because the Paddhati was created by him. He has done from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, because he has traveled. Even Madhvacharya, 3 times he is supposed to have gone to Badrinath, and 3rd time, there only he disappeared. He is supposed to be with Vyasa, still learning. Likewise, because even the Visishtadvaita also, Ramanuja has traveled, because finally he settled in Melkote in Mysore, because there, because it was more conducive. He was more living in Melkote and Srirangam, and he was living like that. They have all gone there, and all his Sishyas have gone over the world, and they have done it. Gone over the whole part of India. So therefore, because it is not the which philosophy is important. Bhaskaracharya is one of the great acharyas. But then what he has propounded, in this particular, this one they have explained, this is what he has written, but it will not be acceptable taking the connotation given by Brahma Sutra and reading together with the Veda, Samanvaya. You have to match it together and then you will have to take that. That's what it has been said. Second one is Swapnamaya Sarupeti Srishti Inte Vikalpita. Srishtir Anya Vikalpita. Swapnamaya, it is basically Advaita. Advaita in the sense the whole world is like an illusion. What you are experiencing is an illusion. And what we see the world is an illusion. In the sense, it is not correct to say illusion. All the acharyas commonly agree on one thing, Jagat Satyam, Brahma Satyam. The primordial power, Brahma is Satyam, Paramatma is Satyam. And then Jagat Mithya, that is what Dvaita says. We say, because Vayu Jivottama, we say, and because we say it is Jagat is real, Satya we say, Jagat Mithya. Mithya is in the sense it is not illusion, it is an appearance. Now Advaita, for all creation, including human beings, nothing can be created without something existing. Something should be existing. Out of that only we can create. Like, the hot potato, it has got its heat because Agni has given it through the part to the water, water to the likewise. You have to regressively, you have to go and see. When it says that, including plant, animals, everyone, there's a substratum is there. Including God, when he is there, he is not existing directly, including Prakriti, this world. He is the underlying power. Because of it, it is operating. The gravity is there because of that. So that is how, because that is the concept that they have propounded. Whereas in the theistic philosophy like Visishtadvaita and Tattvavada, the Paramatma, he has created the world. Like, he has got the power to create the world. He has created the world. And he has brought the beings and he has given them, he is a Purusha. And he has called the Brahmanda, and the Brahmanda, he created the Pindanda. He also came inside. So the same primordial Paramatma who is existing everywhere is also inside your heart chakra, Anahita chakra when he is there. That means he is Anutattva when he is inside and operating. He is the Mahattattva when he is there everywhere and all. In the sense, you have to understand you are not an ordinary being. The resident in your Anahita chakra is the Paramatma. So you have to be a fit enough residence for Paramatma. That is how you will have to behave in this world. In the sense, we work with the whatever dharma available at that point of time, what is coming to us, that we will have to do it. This is what both these philosophies have been discussed. Because next mantra, if you see the mantra number 8, which is there in your Ichcha matram prabho srushtiriti srushto vinischitaha. He doesn't have to create anything out of existing or non-existing, because this is where the theistic philosophy like Visishtadvaita or Tattvavada and all come into being. Ichcha matram prabho. Like once he says he is Sarveshwaraha, Sarvajnaha, Sarvantaryam. Sarva, he is the Yoni, he is Sarveshwara. Because he is everyone, he is the creator, he can create. Once he creates everyone and then he creates everyone to bring about this. How he is creating, why he is creating all of us and all. What is the purpose? Because one question that we will be asking is, did we ask him to create? Why have to come and suffer in this world? and then I have to do the all Adhyatma Upanishadic knowledge and all, get it, and then finally get elevated and all. What is the purpose of it? If you have kept it, I think I would have had, because okay, let him be, the Jiva be there. What is the purpose behind it? The entire thing is being discussed. Because this has been the question all the poets have asked. See, they even everywhere, including in all languages, the story has been to why God is required. Because there is one great philosopher called Friedrich Nietzsche. He's a German philosopher. He said, God is the product of the human mind. And then said, because since it is the product of the human mind, as long as it suits, everyone is with the God. Once their needs are not likely to be served by God, then they forget about the God. So because you have all the moral codes, everything and all, someone doesn't want to mount a moral code, he doesn't go to the church, he doesn't want to take everything and all. So likewise, this is the entire concept is going to be elaborated in this mantra, which we will take. This know the importance of the creation of the beings and the world, what is the purpose of our being in this world, and what is the nature of our creation, how we are going to, because once you know the nature of your creation, and what is that finally, because whether you call it Moksha, Naraka, this and that, these are all secondary things. Because what is that they mean about it, why these concepts have been brought about. This we will see next class. I think this mantra itself, will take almost half a class next time. With this, we will be able to come to the next two mantras. The week after next, we will be going to the grand concept of Turiya, the highest concept which all of us have to realize. So with this, today I will try to conclude. Today, basically, it is just to show, because every day we are born, we are creating, and we are maintaining, and we are also dissolving. And this continuously we are doing. What is the purpose? And this is not something new. Someone says someone has created it. This is happening. I think it is our own volition we are doing it. What we experience, it is going to elevate Utkarshata. Once you take it, then afterwards, you will not be a king of complaints. You will be king of full bliss. That is what, we want to get, the final bliss of the God, which all the acharyas have, because they are trained so much of why Shankaracharya has written so many scriptures, why Madhvacharya has written, or Visishtadvaita, Ramanuja has written Sri Bhashyam, the grand one. In fact, he has written 2-3 chapters so high, I think it's a voluminous one. All of them have taken the trouble of bringing it to all of us, and hope the scriptures will be happy that it have worked on us. They will not go back, I couldn't work on them. So let us hope for that. With this, I will try to conclude today's session, and just to give a propensity to further know our philosophy. And the purpose of knowing the philosophy is that you will realize it is without this knowledge we were living. What difference it has made. But with this knowledge, when you are living, you will really see the difference. Thank you very much. With this, I will try to conclude today's session. And you may get lot of doubts, all these creation things and all those things. These are all sometimes not discussed elaborately. We do not want to miss an opportunity, because this is the Upanishad has brought so great things to our in front of us. Why should we miss it? Let us take it and we will go. Thank you. With this, today's I will conclude the session. If you have. Sahanavavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi, Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vishvidavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankar, I think, hope it was not a mumbo jumbo today. I think. Thank you everybody. Oh, thank you. Oh, fantastic. See, the knowledge will make us very easy to be living in this world, because we are now carrying ourselves with a lot of stress and strain. We have got a lot of baggage. All this will go off. Once it go off, we will be flying. That is it. Thank you. Omkarananda is no more. I think his Sishyas must be conducted. About a very great scholar. Outstanding scholar. In fact, his disciples are doing a wonderful job. I think they're great all over the. All the best, Shankar. I think wonderful. You have taken it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Welcome. Bye. हाँ